You're listening to the Career Plus Life Catch-Up, episode number 53. Welcome to the Career Plus Life Catch-Up, a show anchored in reality to help you create a balanced life where you enjoy both your work and your life, because you don't have to choose. I am your host, Cecile Ferry, a corporate executive turned coach and working mom. This is your place for insights, advice, and tools to optimize your career direction, balance, and confidence. I'm so glad you're here. Let's get into it. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to the podcast. I'm really excited to be back here with an episode that I think you will enjoy a lot. So today I wanted to talk about personal development. If you're here, chances are that you are remotely or deeply into personal development. Maybe you're just at the beginning of the journey, maybe you're just starting to discover it, or maybe you've already been dipping your toes into it for a year or two, or maybe you're like all the way to like being quite an expert. You have learned a lot, you've been going in and out of a lot of resources in the field, and you have quite a lot of knowledge. This podcast episode will resonate wherever you are on this spectrum. And I'm going to talk about books, but really today I refer about all the content that is currently available, and aren't we lucky with the abundance of stuff that we can consume and learn from, be it books obviously, but also podcasts, videos, articles online, blog posts, Instagram reels, videos on YouTube, online courses you can buy, like just the list goes on, and we have all of that at our fingertips, and sometimes quite free at a very low cost, which I think is amazing. We have the opportunity to tap into all that knowledge out there, which will definitely benefit us if we do it somewhat the right way. So there is no secret here that I am big on personal development, and I'm an avid consumer. I used to call myself a personal development junkie, because if you know me a little bit, I cannot help myself. I'm always buying books, I'm consuming a lot of content, and I love it. But I live with that because it is also a passion of mine, and it is fully aligned with my strength of being a maximizer. So hey, I was born to do this stuff, and now I work in the field, so even better. Everything is in alignment with what I like, and also everything that I learn is so integral to bring into my coaching practice as well. So I was actually thinking back as I was preparing this podcast to my very first personal development book. Do you remember what it is for you? So for me, it was, and I still have it right here with me, a book by Megan Della Camina called Getting Real About Having It All. And I picked it up when I was on maternity leave, and I was at that stage when I was starting to think about flexibility and returning to work, and being that sort of all-rounder person that was a mom, that was a partner, who was a worker. And I absolutely loved this book by Megan, and so much so that I looked her up and saw that she did some one-on-one coaching, and she was my very first coach. And I credit our work together to being here today. So there you go. You have all the full backstory. Fast forward to today, I have a full bookshelf, over full. I need a second bookshelf. And I have read over 100 books in personal development across a wide range of topics. It is quite wide. Anything from mindset to effectiveness to productivity. I've read a lot on money mindset, money management, energy management, purpose, your subconscious mind, creativity. So these are all the kind of the core themes that I have been exploring at various times throughout my journey, probably across the last 6 years, I would say. All of this to say, I am super well placed today to talk to you about the role of personal development in our lives, and to guide you to understand when it's really beneficial and when it contributes to us really thriving, and also when it can be paradoxically too much or less helpful, even all the way to unhealthy. So that's what I have for you today. We're going to talk about the benefits of it, then we're going to talk about the limits, and I will end up with my very concrete tips on how to get the best out of personal development. Are you ready? Let's get into it. Can you already feel the passion in my voice? And I'm like, first point in all my notes. So hey, who knows where this episode is going to end up? First benefit. So I've got 3 main benefits for you. Number 1 is, it sounds obvious, but let's talk about this. It's to drive improvement in your life. This stuff works, people. It's not just fluff, right? It is often backed up by research, and there are constantly new releases evolving with the time and with the research and the progress. So like if you look these days when I'm recording this, look out for new books on working from home, on conscious parenting, on holistic psychology. Those are all the latest, if you like, branches out of personal development right now. Most well-written books have very clear principles, they have steps, they're usually not fluffy. And how you know is you typically stick to authors that are well known, that are established and well recognized. So personal development helps you fix things in your life. It helps you getting unstuck if you are. It helps you move towards a better version of yourself. But you need to do something to see that benefit, not just read a book and it happens by magic. You need to apply it. You need to change things. You need to do something as a result of consuming some content, whether it's a book or a podcast. So here I am dead set talking about actions, because otherwise it's fluff, right? A personal development book with no actions on the back of it is useless. Sorry to bring it to you. And I've done that a lot. I've read a lot of books and just read them from start to finish. Felt good about it, but what changed in my life, right? So those books need to lead you to action. And they also need to, prior to that, create the right fuel through your mindset and energy to get you into that action. So a good personal development book has got both, right? It gives you all the information to get your mindset in the right place, but then it ignites you to go and do something about it. Second benefit from personal development is it brings awareness to your blind spots and shadows, right? So we all have those. We're human beings, we have them. And they are typically what is keeping us stuck, what is holding us back in situations. And sometimes it's the same kind of things that are holding us back across multiple areas of our life. So there's like one root cause or two. So this is when you know you're consuming really good personal development content. It doesn't just say to you, just go out and do these things and your life will change. Right? These books help you understand why you do what you do. It's the next level down, if not down, down, and down. Because otherwise, you wouldn't come to the book. You would know yourself how to change. And it is so much harder for us to see those blind spots and see those shadows ourselves, because we're part and parcel of them, and we're so under this spell, if you like, and a lot of them are in our subconscious minds, that those books have the power to bring that awareness to the surface. And also, even better, coaching does that. And that's why coaching is so powerful, because it will raise the awareness on those blind spots and those shadows as well. So if you cannot afford one-on-one coaching, or it's just not your thing, you're not ready for it right now, start with a couple of good personal development books. And I can help you. I'll put in the show notes some of the main ones that I recommend. But again, tailor it to your situation and what it is that you need. Obviously can't cover everything, so I'll just give you the main ones, but do your own research. So a really good book in that space will bring a lot of insights and ahas about the way that you operate or why you're thinking a specific way. And then that will help you get into the action and change things. And that's what keeps you coming. That's what keeps me coming back to personal development, because I have uncovered so many things about myself, especially things I have acquired in my childhood and things that haven't worked for me in the past, and patterns and conditioning and all of that. And I found personal development is amazing at shining the light in a way that feels safe and compassionate, where you kind of can safely look at yourself and go, oh yeah, I do this. Yeah, that's me too. And especially when it really describes the different situations or ways of being or behaving that really match certain underlying beliefs or stories that we have. So in that regard, personal development is amazing and really is a catalyst for change. Benefit number 3 is that those books really act as a guide for you. And this is very much my personal take on it. I really trust that the right resource, the right content will find you when you need it. And that's what I've always found in my life and all of my friends and clients' life. And I found that absolutely amazing. It's like those books will give you the pieces of the puzzle wherever you are at in your life. It might not always make sense, especially make sense enough for you at the beginning as you're reading one book and maybe a second one. You might enjoy them but not quite see where this leads to. And it might not always really straight away achieve great transformation for you. But I see every single personal development book, podcast, videos, resource that you consume as a building block towards the new you. And I'm really convinced of that. It's like a personal message that you need to receive right now, and it's guiding you. And that's why I always trust what I am drawn to. And with books, for instance, I buy a lot of them and I buy way more than what I can read. But what I do is they sit on my bookshelf, and then when I'm finished with one, when I'm in need of something new and new inspiration, I let myself be guided and I pick up a book which I may have bought a year or 2 years ago. But I trust this is the right time, and it always is. So it's a bit of a dance. I don't force it. I see what comes to me. And likewise, that's what I would recommend for you, is that you need to trust when someone gives you a specific book, or when someone recommends one to you, or when you see one popping up online. There is a saying in the personal development work that I really adhere to. It's when the student is ready to learn, the teacher appears. And I find those personal development books really act as those guides and those teachers. So I've really learned from my own experience, and take my word for it, that there is always the right time, and they come just at the right time to teach you what you need to know right now. And just trust that it can be a jigsaw puzzle and things are going to unfold one after the next. But as long as they take you further and further, and you learn with every single book you read, you're on the right track. Okay, so now that I've done my big propaganda campaign for personal development, and maybe I already have you clicking over on Amazon, looking at the top 10 personal development books, or the one that you've heard about, and now you're like, yep, I need it. This is going to change my life. Now that I've got you all excited, let me balance this with a view on the potential downsides of maybe overdoing personal development, or just spending a lot of time doing it, and potential limits as well to it. I think it's so important to be objective and take some and maybe leave some. Let's start with potential downsides. And here I just want to ask you the question, why are you reading those? What is your intention? What is your purpose? Why are you using it? And that is the answer right there. Look into your reasons and get really clear there and get really honest, because depending what they are, then you're either doing it right or you're not. Let me explain. Is the reason to improve your life because something bugs you and you want better for yourself? Or is it to forever improving your life? As in, you have the feeling that you never quite get there, or you always need the next book. You need one more book, you need one more course, and you think when you read that, and then you will get there, but then you need this, and then you need that. So you see, this is coming from a place of never enough, or that quest for perfection that is an illusion. Are you using personal development for inspiration and for action, or is it to buffer? For instance, you may be stuck in a current situation, which is often painful, right? But likewise, all the options that you see to get out of that situation, or especially if you look at change, that is also very painful to consider, and you don't want to move there. So in those situations, we can fall into what I call the trap, maybe, of personal development to educate, quote unquote, ourselves. But the thing is, we might stay stuck, indulging, if you like, consuming a lot of personal development for longer than what we need. And that's why I call that a buffer. Right? And we can justify very rationally and using a very virtuous approach to it, justifying to ourselves that we are preparing ourselves, we are learning the steps, we're getting clear on things, and we've got all those beautiful reasons as to why it's important for us to learn all of that in order to move forward. And a special careful advice here for any of you, like me, who have the love of learning as part of our character strength. So a bit of a flag here, because people like us, we love to learn anyway. And personal development is such a great topic to learn because it's endless and it's really positive, right? So it's very motivating to learn. And there is so many areas so we can really go down the rabbit hole of it and spend a lot of time down there. So we can easily binge, if you like, and looking for some positive boost, I would nearly say all the way to like some form of dopamine from what we learn. And we really feel like what we're doing serves a purpose, and we are practicing a lot, and we're spending a lot of time in that personal development, but the proof is in the action. Because if we spend a lot of time consuming and reading and learning, but we don't do anything, we don't change anything, our personal development is worthless, in my opinion. It's not personal development. We're not advancing. We are gaining a lot of knowledge, but we are not using it to move forward. So consuming in that case could be a form of buffering. And our inner critic can be very, very good at masking that for us, at pretending to us that we're making progress, we're doing something that is useful. So that is something I saw myself doing about halfway through my journey, where I just liked personal development and it just grew and grew for me. And I ended up just really going so much into it. And basically how I could spot it is because I spend a lot of time doing it throughout my weeks. It was like any spare moment I had, I would do that, and quite often overworking on my business. And also I was looking for the silver bullet, right? And neither are good for you. So just realize if you may be overdoing it or you're doing it in lieu of taking action. Naturally, there are a lot of other really good reasons to pick up personal development books, like looking for your purpose, looking to achieve growth, personal growth, excellence. These are all very, very good, but just be mindful that you don't use personal development to sharpen your perfectionism, that you don't use it to control things more than you already are. So these are people who love steps after steps and adding things into their days to make everything better. But at the end of the day, they so over-engineer everything that it becomes too controlling and too complex. And also make sure you don't use that to buffer so that you don't take action that you are afraid of. Again, to wrap this point up, it all comes down to the feeling behind reading those books. Does it feel expensive, plentiful, exciting, motivating? Versus does it feel demanding? Does it feel not enough? Does it feel like you never get there, that it could be unachievable? Make sure you ask yourself that really good question. Why am I using it? What am I getting out of it? And check in with those feelings so you know if you're doing it for the right purpose. Now, I want to draw your attention to 3 unintended consequences of personal development. So these are things that we might do, consciously or not, as a result of all the knowledge that we have. And now that I'm going to tell you, it won't be unconscious anymore. But there you go. Number 1, you are not letting yourself feel bad. And next up, you actually, when you feel bad, you judge yourself and you double down. So you feel double bad because you've learned so much in personal development about the importance to be positive, to watch your thoughts, and really most personal development books really focus onto the positive side of things. Really, to get a view into the darker side, you usually have to go to the spirituality department. So when we practice and we learn so much about personal development, we get a bit of a high and we get really excited, but we also pick up narrative like I should feel positive. And we can start watching ourselves, watching our thoughts and feel like, oh, danger. I'm not in the right headspace here. I should be thinking that way. So we can have that self-talk, but it's not natural and it's all in the head and it's not allowing our true feelings coming from the heart. So typically we might have times where we feel really low and we feel bad deep down. But because of what we know in personal development, we put on a mask that we are doing well, things are going to improve, you know how to get out of that, you're on your way, right? So not allowing yourself to sit in negative emotions, in things not working, in being stuck, not making progress, right? Was life is a mix of both. And life is a balance. We all have cycles, we all have seasons in our life, and life is a mix of positive and negative emotions and vibrations. So personal development can fail to show to us that there is also that other side of, not everything is always going to go. We're not going to feel like the best version of ourselves every single day when we get up and throughout every hour and minute of our day. And that can be a trap for some of us if we don't know about it. So if you are hearing me, I'm telling you it's completely fine to know so much and invest so much into your personal development and have moments where you feel like completely, utterly either depressed, low on energy, not sure where you're going, confused, annoyed, angry, resentful, all of that. That is perfect. You're doing just right. You're just a perfectly balanced human being. So don't feel like you always have to be on the good side of things. That is not helpful and that is not true. Second unintended consequence of personal development, and this one makes me smile because I'm guilty of it, is that we may be wanting to fix our partners and our friends. I've done that. Who's done that, right? Because, hey, this is coming from the best place. We feel like they need to know everything that we've learned and that we've discovered. We get really excited. We get ahas for our lives. And then plenty of other people walking around don't know what we know. And the close one, we have conversation. We tell them, oh, I know, you need to change this. And what about this, right? The truth is, you kind of know better when you read all that personal development stuff. You do. You know better. Many people never ever open these books, never listen to those podcasts you're listening to, or this one, for instance. If you're here, you're part of a minority. You're working on yourself. You're interested. You want to learn. You're looking for solutions. You're looking for ways to better your life. And I congratulate you entirely for all of that. And you probably have already a pretty good life. And it's only going to get better and better. But there are people who are just not seeking that. Or they haven't come across it. Or they're close-minded, right? So just know that not everyone is like you, for starters, and is working on themselves, and that's totally okay. So when you start acquiring that knowledge for yourself, quite often after a while you start spotting things in others, especially those ones close to you. You can offer some advice if it's asked of you, or at least check that you have permission to share some advice with someone. But unfortunately, we quite often have the temptation to kind of blurt it out, right? When we see it, and we want to do it for them. We want to kind of bring the solution and better their own lives, right? And basically, we want to try to control those people because the outcomes benefit us, right? Did I just pull the curtain off something here? We often have a hidden personal agenda to other people around us changing for the better, right? We want it for them, true, but it benefits us as well, right? It's important to share with them if it is safe to, if you have permission. But otherwise, it's best to restrain from teaching others. And that has been my experience. You can think a lot about what you see and what you think they should do, but sharing it is a different thing. And I've also learned that it's their own journey. Their life has their own path, and they have their own timing. It's not up to us, up to me, or up to you to change someone else. It's really the purpose of their life to uncover and to go through their own growth and do that work themselves. So in a way, you might rob them from the opportunity to do that themselves. And I think it's the natural way of things. Of course, it's difficult when you're in a relationship because it affects you and you want the other person to get up on their way and grow, right? Especially if you are growing. But I've also seen that trying to change someone who doesn't want to change never works anyway. So why would we even try? So big watch out here to not practice everything that you know on your friends, families, partners, and to want for them the same thing that what these books and these resources are achieving for you. And now comes my third and final unintended consequence of personal development. It's that we can develop a tendency to overanalyze, overthink when we read a lot, right? And because it just puts our focus so much on our thinking, on our mindset, on trying to think things through while we're doing what it is that we do. You remember that great benefit of understanding our blind spots and shadows and all of that. But the problem is when we overdo it, we can tend to be over-vigilant, over-careful, and we can get overwhelmed as well by our own thinking, right? So when we read a lot, we become a bit of an expert, and that can nearly be an impediment because we lose touch with the simplicity of our intuition. It's like too much knowledge is actually detrimental to us at that point because we've been so much in our head with everything that we know and we try to apply that we lose touch with the natural flow of life. Let me be clear here. Not everything in our life has meaning. Not everything is a pattern. Not everything is a factor or something to fix. So we can get a little bit carried away, if not all the way to obsessed in our quest for personal growth, and we can overdo it. The sign that you're doing that is you are talking a lot about everything that you learn. You are unable to switch off. So you're continuously consuming and reading, even like when you go away. You are unable to be present in the ordinary kind of life. You might be easily bored, you get frustrated, you get disinterested. At times, we need to step away from all personal development. And I'm talking to myself here too. And we need to not use it like a drug or like a constant prop to see life through. It's very helpful, but we can live without, and we should live without. At times, we just need to be and to let life happen to us without asking ourselves all those questions and asking ourselves like too deep and meaningful questions too. So in a nutshell, personal development is good, but not relying on it for too much is good too. Now on to my final sections, which will be some very quick, super concrete tips on how to get the most out of personal development and not fall into any of those traps I have covered today. Number 1, know when it's too much. Pull back. So do it at limited times only and switch off, right? Don't just be constantly consuming. Give yourself some breaks, read something else. Also, secondly, give it time to integrate. So this takes time. This is not work that changes your life overnight, unlike what the book and the marketing and the advertising will tell you. The things that personal development affects are conscious but also subconscious. And when we look into our patterns and our ways of being, we've been like that for years, sometimes 20, 30, 40 years. How can we expect things to disintegrate and to evolve quickly when it has taken us so long to build those things? So give it time to integrate. Allow for a long period of time, I would say. Even if it feels like you're making no progress at all, if I have to tell you, like with my, let's say, 6 years of intensive personal development consumption, everything that I have learned has been useful in some shape or form, and everything had its place. Sometimes it takes years for things to really click, as in you seeing a result, a change in your life. And that's not to say that you are slow or that you should have worked harder or you didn't do it right in the first place. My firm belief here is that it's happening exactly the way that it should be happening. There's a time for everything. There's a time in our life when all those things will come together, and there are times where we have accelerated growth and shifts, and others where we don't make a lot of progress on the surface. But now, with all the perspective that I have, some of the shifts that I'm making now are the results of years already in the making of me thinking, and I'm like connecting the dots now. So especially when you start somewhere, it takes a lot of time to put things together. So don't be discouraged and feel like it's not moving fast enough. Give it time to integrate and to sort of flourish the way that it is naturally supposed to, which you don't fully see and you don't fully grasp anyway. But what I'm saying is trust the path, because you will get there at the time that is right for you, and it always works out. Tip number 3, find the right voice or the right coach or the right teacher for you. Don't follow the crowds. Yes, you may look into some bestsellers, but that doesn't mean they are going to resonate with you, those books. So I don't want you to waste your time and your money. I have done that at times. I've just seen books that a huge crowd would comment and said they were the best books ever. And I bought them and I was so eager to get stuck into them. And I read the full book from beginning to end. And I was like, okay, yeah, no, didn't really do it for me. So I buy books very differently now. I buy them on intuition, what jumps at me when I'm in a shop, what I notice online. I notice where it's the right message for me, and I don't care how many followers or what other people recommend, because it's very much an individual journey. Another tip is to not look to fix several areas of your life at once. So you pick one and the rest will follow. So don't go look after books to improve your relationship with money, and then books to help with time management, and then books that help with parenting, and then books that help with a career direction all at the same time, right? That's overdoing it. Just pick one at a time. It's enough work. As I say, it takes time to integrate. Another tip, live your life. Try to be detached from the book. Listen, take it all in, make some small changes, and then live your life. You need to be natural. You need to go with the flow. Like, you should not live your life through a book. Another tip is to find the right format to make it applicable, to make it easy for you to put into practice. And again, that will be vastly different from one to another person. Maybe it's podcast, long podcast, short podcast. Maybe it's big fat books where you highlight everything and you make index cards with your notes. Maybe it's just taking quick online courses. Maybe it's listening to audios in the car. Maybe it's being part of group programs or just watching videos. And likewise, even in the content, you might like step-by-step methods. Some people prefer questions and exercises to work things out. Some people just like the purely intellectual concept and they get it and they move on from there. Some people love live Q&As and being able to ask questions, right? So there is everything out there on the internet, especially and amongst books. So make sure you try a few different things and then you reflect back on what was the easiest for you to digest and to implement, and just stick to that. And my final tip is to not exert yourself. Inner work is a lot of work. It is tiring. It takes energy. So don't pressure yourself or don't go too hard at it. That's what I see sometimes with women who really want to improve their lives, and it's all to their credit and it's amazing. But they just go too hard at it because they really want the result badly or they're not feeling enough. So give yourself the time and don't exert yourself. That's all I had for you, my friends, this week. I hope you're feeling fully enlightened about the kind of the do's and the don'ts in personal development, that you don't want to overdo it, you don't want to be doing all the time, or you don't want to be overthinking everything. Absolutely. But on the other hand, please give this a really good go, because it has the power literally to change your life. It has changed mine. That's why I'm here. And it continues to. But now I've learned to discipline myself, to not go in every direction, to not overdo it, to balance it with other things in my life as well, and to make sure that I use everything that I read. And I will end on that note, like, the books are great, but you will find after a while that you're ready for more. And because they don't unlock everything, or sometimes they really don't unlock the action, and you need that one-on-one touch. So if that's where you've been, do not stay stuck in buffer in the books. Come to me. Reach out, let's have a conversation so we can put it into words and we can talk about what's happening and how you're going to get to the place that you want to get to. So if that's you, go onto careercatchup.com and browse my programs when it comes to career coaching or life coaching. Let's make this a great year, and I wish you all to enjoy all the personal development that's available out there and make it work for you. All right, my friend, you've got this. Have a beautiful week. I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and would like to find out more information, you can visit my website at careercatchup.com. There you will find blog articles, free resources, a self-study course for your career direction, and ways to work with me. It's at careercatchup.com. I hope to continue to connect with you and support you. Talk to you soon.